Turning now to the continued fallout after prosecutors at the International Criminal Court announced that they were seeking arrest warrants for top Israeli and Hamas officials for war crimes against humanity. It is an issue that has divided the West, with some European countries, including France and Germany, expressing support for the ICC and its independence. But here in Washington, the Biden administration continues to make clear it opposes the ICC's latest actions.
Contrary to allegations against Israel made by the International Court of Justice, what's happening is not genocide. We reject that.
The extremely wrong-headed decision by the ICC prosecutor yesterday, the shameful equivalence implied between Hamas and the leadership of Israel, we'll be happy to work with Congress, with this committee, on an appropriate response.
Joining me now is Sahil Kapur on Capitol Hill. We saw Secretary Blinken there. He was testifying today, and he signaled the administration may take some action against the ICC. What would that look like?
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. This was a revealing moment where the ICC's action actually unified the Biden administration and Democrats with Republicans on this issue as they had been moving further and further apart, unified them in condemnation. You just played Blinken over there calling this an extremely wrong-headed decision. He described the shameful equivalence, in his words, between Hamas and the government of Israel. He said this sets back the cause of a ceasefire in Gaza, and it makes it harder to get a hostage release deal. Now, Blinken told the ranking member of this committee in his testimony, Jim Risch, that he could support legislative action against the ICC. He said, quote, "We want to work with you on a bipartisan basis to find an appropriate response," unquote. But Secretary Blinken, ever the diplomat, said the devil's in the details, and he would need to see a proposal before he commits to it. His message to the committee was essentially, show us what you got, we'll take it from there, but we agree on the broader point.
Of course, Sahil, the U.S. policy on Israel is really a dividing line. It's dividing the country on both sides of the aisle. Was the secretary able to say anything to minimize some of those criticisms?
Yes, somewhat, Ryan. Interestingly, in that exchange with Jim Risch, Risch seemed to like the fact that he talked about that shameful equivalence. He said that coinage was, quote, "a good starting point for all of us." That is Risch talking to Blinken, and said he also wants to work with him. Now, of course, there are Republicans who are not satisfied with Blinken or the administration. That includes conservative Senator Ted Cruz, who had a fiery exchange with Secretary Blinken, demanding to know that, whether the Biden administration was withholding any intel about Hamas from Israel, to which Blinken categorically insisted, no, it is not, and that reports to the contrary, in Blinken's words, were false. Their Speaker, Mike Johnson, said if the administration doesn't show leadership, Congress will consider any and all options, including sanctions, to punish the ICC and ensure that its leadership faces consequences if they proceed. And then, of course, on the progressive side, the protests continue. Secretary Blinken faced yet another protest in that room from people calling him war criminal and complicit in genocide. Finally, progressive Senator Bernie Sanders actually said the ICC is right, that the arrest warrants may never materialize, but international law must be abided by. Ryan?
Okay, Sahil Kapur on top of all of it for us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.